So I teach drawing, I teach design, painting. Prior to me being full-time, I was part-time for about a year, maybe 2 years. So I was one of those instructors that lived out of my car. My mother was an aspiring artist. She was uneducated she didn't go to art school, but she was a stay-at-home mom, and she loved art. And I had the advantage of growing up outside Philadelphia. So to go to the Philadelphia Art Museum or the Rodin Museum was no problem at all, So I got to be around a lot of art, and I got to really scrutinize it, although I didn't go to schools that had art programs, so I had very little art instruction, except for just kind of absorbing what I saw my mom doing, and she was a painter. So I was on the academic track, and I was going to college to be a biologist, and I entered Chestnut Hill College and found out I wasn't really all that excited about labs and dissection, and I was more interested in biology from the living things side. I love nature, and I really loved the beach. I think somehow, maybe somewhere in my mind, I thought marine biology or something, along those lines. But the experience I was having in college was so remote from any of the dreams I had that I kind of had a disconnect. So the summer after freshman year, I thought I would change my major. My career started at the end of graduate school. I started applying for jobs and got a postdoctoral fellowship to teach art at Miami University in Ohio. It's like I loved painting, and teaching on the college level seemed to be a logical way to support myself. So I love that. Teaching art on the college level is not necessarily an easy job to come by. And so while I was going back to school, I was part-time teaching at UNO and here. That's when I started doing my part-time teaching. And luckily, by some magic, right about a month before I was going to graduate with an education degree, the position here opened up, full-time position. The whole idea behind teaching was to make art. You have to support yourself with something, right? So that was really how I segued into teaching, was to have a profession that I could support myself with. And even though I'm married, it's a two-income culture that we live in. So having both, I had to work the whole time, and even though my husband is gainfully employed, at Methodist Hospital right now. But so my idea was to be an artist first, and then teaching was the way I supported myself. I did get pretty heavily into the whole thing of being an art teacher because I've done it for so long, and I ended up liking it. But it's sort of like the two things go hand in hand with me. Well, like on the first day of class, you have a bunch of strangers. Like that just happened last week, right? We have a new group of students, and they're all sitting out there, and half of them are pretty bored or nervous. And I think each time, you start into the class, and then you have these strangers turning into people that I know. I know things about them. And so it's this opportunity to meet unique people and to introduce them to, in a lot of cases, to a language that a lot of them don't know that much about. I would say at least 50% of the people that I'm teaching, this is like a really new experience. So I think getting to watch that experience from feeling hesitant, feeling not confident, and then realizing that they can do something, and watching that process of confidence and them gaining confidence and making something that they are excited about. I think that's probably, that's the neat thing for me. The other day in class I had students, I have iPads, I've got 15 iPads for the students, and everybody had an iPad, and I said, okay, I want you to go find a picture by somebody, an artist that you really like. And I love doing that because they all can find it, even if they can't remember the person's name. They're great at getting on a computer or the iPad and searching, and then they'll pull up this amazing picture, and I'll go, who is that? That is just amazing. So I think that's one of the things that maybe I'm trying to say about art. It's like, it's not specific. It's all over the place. I mean, it's been done for all time. And there are like lots of artists we know about now, and other ones that they're just, I don't know about, or is yet to be discovered or whatever. So, I mean, it's like a whole world out there that isn't on the daily news. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. And that's that balance that I was talking about before about being a teacher and being an artist. Originally it was like, I'm just going to teach because I want to have the money to paint. And then, I got really pretty heavily into being fascinated with the teaching process, and working with people. And then, the other thing is I raised 2 kids along with my career, and that, that was an interesting balancing act. But yeah, finding the time to actually do my own work is probably the biggest challenge. And you know what Andy Warhol said? He said, don't think about art, just do it. I've gone through lots of different enthusiasms in all the cycles of teaching. And my most recent one is that, let's have some playing going on here, This is like partly supposed to be playtime. And I think that's also what I was talking about, my own experience of art. It wasn't as serious as it is now, It's like, it's a little too serious. The other thing, okay, maybe, in terms of advice I've been giving recently is, if you can't make mistakes here, where are you going to make them? If you're supposed to be learning from mistakes, if life is about learning from mistakes, and, because I think a lot of students get this idea that every assignment has to be perfect, How do you want me to do this? What are the, is this okay to do this? This is art, It's like, you have to just dive in and have some fun with it. Not that there isn't, that more serious side or the, pulling things together, but part of it, the most fun part of it is the playful creation part. And I think that probably that's a big part of what I think is, if that happens in the classroom, that's a good thing. I'm Tricia Hollins, and I'm an art instructor at Metro.